If you want to grow a successful business without killing yourself in the process, these 5 morning habits will change everything. They've helped me stay focused, energized, and build a thriving 8-figure business. And I have no doubt they'll help you too. You see, the problem is that most people make the catastrophic mistake of getting their day started by checking their phone, playing on social media, or simply scrambling into their day like a chicken with their head cut off. But top performers don't react to their mornings, they run them. My name is Duriel Kim. I'm a New York Times bestselling author, CEO of Healthpreneur, and I've been building 7- and 8-figure online businesses since 2005. So here are my top 5 morning habits that have changed everything for me. So the first one is waking up before the sun. For the longest time, I was never a morning person. I would sleep in. I always had this internal battle of laying in my bed and wanting to get up early, but never could. I don't know if you can relate, but this was my existence for a very, very long time. Until one day I made a simple shift. I told myself a different story. I stopped focusing on having to do something, and I started to change how I saw myself. So I told myself a new story which helped me reshape my identity, which was essentially this: successful people wake up before the sun. That's it. Now, is that empirically true? No, not really. I mean, there's a lot of successful people that don't get up early, but it was a story that I could believe. Because my thought was, well, if most people wake up at their alarm clock or they struggle to get out of bed, I don't want to be like most people. I want to live a much better quality of life. And in my experience, I had met a lot of successful people that woke up early. In my bouts of time where I did wake up early, I noticed that I was way more productive. By the time 7 or 8 o'clock rolled around, I had my whole day done, and it was just a great feeling of accomplishment. So the shift for me really started when I changed my self-identity to I'm just the type of person that gets up before the sun, because that's what successful people do, as opposed to thinking of it like a chore. So if you want to change your habits, if you want to change your behaviors, what I've recognized the fastest way to do that is by changing your self-identity. Because when you change how you see yourself, then naturally the behaviors that you're going to do and act are going to naturally flow from that. But if you don't change how you see yourself, i.e. your self-identity, then it becomes a lot more challenging to change your behaviors. And this is fundamentally why a lot of people in life don't get what they want, because they're trying to change behaviors, running an operating system or a self-identity like the old version of themselves. So waking up before the sun has been huge for me. And if you think about this, if you're somebody who's busy and says, I don't have a lot of time, just think about what adding let's just say 1 extra hour per day can do to your life. So let's say that right now you wake up at 7 in the morning, and all we're going to do is wake up 1 hour earlier, 6 in the morning. If you think about this, every single day, that's 30 hours you've added into your life in a month. Over the course of a year, that works out to be 9 full-time working weeks. Just imagine what you can do with an extra 9 full-time 40-hour working weeks. Yeah, that's the power of waking up before the sun. When I was writing my books many years ago, I wrote 3 published books in the space of about 4 months. One of them became a #2 New York Times bestseller, and I wrote those books between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. every single day. And I used that time to write so that the rest of the day I could focus on building my business. So if you have an important project or something you want to bring to life, morning time is when your creativity is highest, when you've recharged your battery after a good night's sleep. And in my opinion, it's the best time to do your most important work. The second morning habit, which actually has changed for me a little bit, is working out first thing. So I just talked about how I would write from 5 to 7 a.m. So for the longest time, I would go from my bed, drink my water, do my morning stuff, like brush my teeth and so forth, and get right into my most important work. And to be honest, I still do that to a certain extent. But one of the things I've done, I'd say over the past year and a half, more consistently is working out first thing. Now, I'm not really the type of guy, my body doesn't respond well to like intense sweat fests first thing in the morning. I'm not going to get my best lifting done at 5 or 5:30 in the morning. But I also know that if I can jump on my Peloton and get on a good 30-minute ride and sweat it out, not in a way that's going to leave me feeling exhausted, but get my blood flowing and get a good sweat on, I feel amazing afterwards. And I'm sure, I don't know if you've experienced this before, having that early morning workout. Doesn't have to be crazy, but just something to like get huffing and puffing, get the sweat going. It sets up your day to win. So one of the things I've done more consistently now, I mean, I work out 7 days a week anyways, in some way, shape, or form. But I've not often prioritized my workouts first thing in the morning because I liked getting into my work. I just found out a better time. I share this with you because I think part of the challenge nowadays is like there's a lot of very dogmatic morning routines. Do this for 20 minutes, then a cold plunge for 7.5 or like whatever. And you just like, it's like too much. Like it's 3 hours later. And you're like, dude, like, let me get on with my day. So I'm not preaching what you should do. I'm sharing what's worked for me and some of the evolutions and edits I've made over time. And I'll walk you through a few of those adjustments that I've made, I'd say over the past 5 years specifically. So one of them obviously is working out first thing in the morning. Now, as I'm shooting this, I don't work out first thing every morning, every day. As an example, today I'm working out with my trainer in the afternoon. So therefore, I'm not going to go for a workout first thing in the morning. However, what I do first thing in the morning is I go for a nice long walk. I move my body, get some sunlight, and I'm moving. Okay, so on days like today, I'm moving first thing in the morning. Some days I do that first. Some days I do a bit of work for 30 minutes and then I get into my walk. But nonetheless, I want to do something every single morning, whether it's rebounding, walking, some degree of working out and huffing and puffing and moving my body to get the day started. It just feels so much better when I do that. I don't believe that there's much sense in building a great business and building a lot of wealth if you're just sick and unhealthy. I lost my hair at the age of 17 to an autoimmune condition. That's what got me into this world of health. But I also played pro soccer in my early 20s. I went to school for kinesiology. I used to be a personal trainer. I live and breathe health and wellness. I love being active and fit. I can't seek any other way of living. For instance, on my weekends, what do? I literally work out 2 to 3 times a day. I'm in my gym working out. I'm going for big hikes. I'm playing soccer or tennis with the kids. I love that, right? And if I can build a life that allows me to do that, what else? I mean, what else could I possibly ask for? But the cool thing is the more you train, obviously within, a certain parameter, the more capacity you have to take on these types of challenges. If you're not healthy, if you don't have a lot of energy, you just feel sluggish and tired all the time. But the more you do this stuff, the more you're able to do. So I found that working out first thing in the morning is a great way to prime the pump, gets, all those good neurochemicals in the brain going. It sets your day up for success. And it's so much easier to just get it done first thing. Brian Tracy has a really famous book called Eat That Frog, which is, if you're going to do something first thing in the morning, it's usually ideally the hardest thing to do. So sometimes I might be working out first thing, just eat the frog, right? Get it done. Because it's so much harder to get a workout in after a long day, when willpower is down, when energy is lower, when you're like, do I really have to do this now? So just get it done first thing in the morning, whatever way that looks like for you. I think it's all good. Third morning habit is spending 3 minutes in an ice bath. Now, as of this, where I am right now, I actually don't have an ice bath in our house. So a little interesting backstory on this. So many, many years ago, I was going to see a chiropractor 3 times a week. I had a little bit of back issue from deadlifts and so forth. That really was just kind of like a nagging muscle thing that never went away. I'd see my chiropractor 3 times a week and it wasn't really making a big difference. And then one day I decided to turn a chest freezer into an ice bath, right? There's this whole community online of people that DIY their own ice baths. I'm not a DIY guy, but I thought this would be a fun project to take on. So I took a chest freezer, purchased it obviously, and turned it into a cold plunge. Cold plunged ice bath every morning for about 3-4 minutes. And within a week, that back pain vanished and has not come back since. Now, this is actually in our old house. I built the cold plunge in our garage gym. So it was a perfect setup. It was right by the hose, whatever. And so every single day, 4:30 in the morning, boom, right in the ice bath. It was amazing. Talk about doing one of the hardest things first thing in the morning. It was a great way to just kind of focus, get my brain on. And so I'd have this combination of ice bath with workout, ice bath, back and forth. And that worked really, really well. Now, when we moved to our current house a couple years ago, we didn't have the same setup. So didn't have the ice bath. Actually purchased one that we kept outside. But the problem was that it was a bit of an eyesore and it was really loud. So in the spring and summer, I'm like, well, why are we going to have that there? So we got rid of it. So anyways, I don't do ice baths as much every morning here, but our house in Mexico does have a cold plunge right on the deck overlooking the Pacific. So when I'm there every single morning after my walk, boom, right in the cold plunge. And it's awesome. I'm in the cold plunge overlooking the Pacific, watching whales. It's pretty spectacular. But the reason I love this so much, for 2 reasons. Number one, there's tremendous health benefits to doing ice baths or cold plunges, or even taking a cold shower. That's pretty much what I do now if I don't have access to the ice bath. So you have the aspect of the reduction in inflammation, all that good stuff. There's a lot of science to support this. I'm sure you know. But the second thing is I like challenging myself. I like doing things that require a little bit of courage and getting myself uncomfortable. And there's just this, I thrive on a sense of accomplishment. Like when I can get something done that's hard, that I don't really want to look for, like I don't look forward to doing necessarily, I'm like, oh my God, like, all right, let's get it done. And you get it done, there's this feeling of like, yes, did it. And you start stacking these wins. And then it's like, hey, remember when I didn't feel like doing that thing and I did it anyways? You just have all these reference points from doing hard things. And the cool part is there's actually an area in your brain that grows. And again, when I say grows, I mean like not like this, but just, it grows and builds more neural networks the more that you do things that are hard and challenging. So for me personally, I love ice baths. I love cold showers. I love the feeling that it creates in my body. And there's that psychological aspect of like, yes, I did something hard. And also I've done something that is great at reducing inflammation in my body as well. Hey, we'll get back to the video in just a moment, but if you're enjoying this content, hit that subscribe button below. It will help me sleep a lot better at night. But more importantly for you, it'll help you build your dream a lot faster. So go ahead, subscribe, and we'll get back to the show. Okay, number 4, the fourth morning habit, and I'll be honest with you on this one. I have not been as consistent with this in the last little bit. It's journaling about the future that I'm creating. So I went through a very long period of time where I was journaling every single day about what I wanted to bring to life. We're all very powerful creators. I think the only difference between someone who thinks they're a powerful creator and someone who doesn't is the fact that you're just intentional about what you're creating. We're all creating what it is we want, or what we focus on, I should say. Sometimes it's not obviously what you want because you're focused on the wrong things. So what I would do every morning is take out a page of my journal or my remarkable digital notepad, and I'd write down as if I already had the thing I was writing about. So it wasn't like I can't wait until this thing happens. It was like, no, I put myself in that position of already having it and expressing gratitude and getting connected to the feelings of that experience or that thing. I'll give you 2 examples. So many years ago, I went on a really interesting 6-hour supercar rally with a friend of mine. We did 6 cars over 6 hours. So it was really cool. We finished on a McLaren 570S. At the time, I didn't know what a McLaren was. But when we both got in the car, this is the last car of the 6 that we finished on, we looked at each other and we're like, oh my God, dude, this thing is a rocket ship. So we drove that car for an hour. We get back to the facility and I told my buddy Nick, I'm like, I'm going to buy this car. Not this exact one, but this car, like the 570 for sure. Like, I'm like, that's it. And so from that point forward, I started journaling every single day because now I had been behind the wheel. I could tap back into that experience, and I was writing down what it would feel like, what it felt like already to have that in my possession. So about 12 months later, I've been doing this, right? And that sounds like a long time, but just a bit of context here. I was very clear about what I wanted. Storm gray, very specific spec package, etc. And then one morning, I'm sitting down, I'm like, let me just check, McLaren's for sale, McLaren 570S for sale, Toronto. And I see this listing come up on Kijiji. And I was like, who sells a McLaren on Kijiji? And it was the exact car I had written about. I actually had photos from the internet as like a vision board I created. The exact car was being sold on Kijiji, literally brand new. And right away, I was like, my car's ready. Like, it was like I made it to order. It was unbelievable. So that was one example of kind of the power of journaling my future as if it was already here and then just seeing that come to fruition. The second example is, for the longest time, my wife and I had traveled to this small town in Mexico that we loved. We loved the energy, the vibe was very low key, wasn't built up, not a tourist hub. And we all loved being by the ocean. So for years and years and years, we'd have, you can see behind me, right? Like, this kind of imagery of like beach, palms, all that good stuff. So we had this vision of, wow, we just wanted to be in that kind of, that type of environment. And again, I just started journaling about it. Here's what I want to create. I can see myself waking up, overlooking the Pacific. I created a vision board with actual images of, a cliffside house overlooking the ocean, Lo and behold, we end up seeing this YouTube video from a guy who does high-end house tours, and it happens to be in the area that we travel to. And we're like, what? So this type of house is being built down there? We had no idea because we couldn't see the development because it was on the other side of a hill that's not facing the town, but facing the ocean. And right away, we contact the developers. We buy a lot, sight unseen, literally on a piece of paper during COVID. And over the next 2.5 years, we built our dream house that is now called Kazayuri. And it all started because I had this vision, this clarity, and I started journaling about it on a daily basis as if I were already there. So the power of this is I can't overemphasize, like everything that I've created in my life has been coming from clarity and conviction that it was already here. And the biggest thing I can share with you about this is when you are writing about what it is you want, you have to believe it's already here. Because if you're not where you want to be, if you don't have what you want yet, it's usually there's doubt in the way or you're not clear. And so like by doing this, it's going to feel awkward at first, but the clearer you get, the more convicted you get, the more it's going to flow. And the more it flows, the quicker it's going to show. All right. And my fifth morning habits, which directly ties into the cashola, is doing my most important deep work first thing in the morning. So when I say deep work, I'm not talking about checking social media, looking at stats, stuff like that. It's not checking my email. Although, listen, I am human. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I do get, sucked back into that. But to the best of my ability, I set up my environment to win, and I'm very clear about what I'm doing in the morning. So for instance, we have these Healthpreneur index cards, which are, you can see today's top 3 priorities. And so there's only room for 3 things, not 30, not 10, 3. So every afternoon when I'm finished my work, I take out one of these index cards and I write down tomorrow morning, here are the top 3 things I'm going to be working on. And so that's going to change based on what, obviously what the focus is in that moment in time. But the key is that when I finish my day and I go to bed, already I've told my brain, I've already told my subconscious, here's what I'm doing first thing in the morning when it comes to work. I'm doing this, I'm getting this done. I'm doing this, I'm getting this done. I'm doing this, I'm getting this. And nothing else happens until those 1, 2, or 3 things are complete. As I said earlier, if you do 1 hour, if you wake up 1 hour earlier every day, that's 9 full-time working weeks over a year. That's astronomical. So when you look at the most important things that you're going to do in your business, think of what you could accomplish in 9 full-time working weeks. Like this is how I wrote 3 published books in the space of 4 months. Like I didn't have to retreat to a cave in the middle of nowhere. I just spent 2 hours every morning doing my most important work. So for you, I don't know what that's going to look like, but usually it's going to be something that's creative. You don't have to be connected to the internet for the most part, because a lot of what you're going to do as the founder of your business is going to be bringing ideas out of your head into reality. So I'll give you an example with a YouTube video. If I have a block of time where I'm thinking through what are the videos that I'm going to shoot over the next couple of weeks or months, I don't need to be connected to the internet for that. It's also one of the, I would say for me personally, one of the most important things I can do, because I have nuances that come from working with a lot of clients that I can bring to you guys, my own experience that I can bring here. So I will sit down and a block of time, let's say 2 hours in the morning, first thing, and I'm crafting out what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm going to think about how do I start this? What's the topic? How am I going to tie in stories and references? And that doesn't need the internet, okay? So I've mapped out the plan. I've prepared. I still don't even need the internet to shoot the video. I just need the internet when the video is done and we upload it to our editors. That's it. So why I'm sharing this as an example is that your most important work has nothing to do with being connected to the internet. And I'm sharing this because if you find yourself, like most of us humans, distracted and OCD sometimes bouncing around, there's a great app called Self-Control. And I use it on my computers, on my Macs, pretty much all the time, where you set a certain block of time where you are disconnected from everything. It actually will not allow you to connect to whichever websites you want to block. So even if you restart your computer, you still can't access them. So what I'll do is at the end of the day, I'll set up a time block for 18 hours as an example. And I'll block everything. Gmail, social media, everything. The only thing I can use on my computer is Google Docs. And that's it. So now I'm forced to be in creation mode, because what am I going to do in a Google Doc other than write or create or brainstorm? So for me, that's been tremendously valuable. And then I can come out of that deep work. And then if I have to share something with a team or publish something, then obviously I can connect to the internet when that time block is over. And now we're back to the races. So if there's one thing that you can do to improve your business, just tactically in the business, it's this. The most important thing to move your business forward, do that first thing in the morning. It's the creation time. It's when there's just so much calm around you and there's no distractions. Just let it all flow. But it's really important that you train yourself to eliminate and set distractions and set up your environment to win, because at the end of the day, environment will always trump willpower. So no one's perfect. Like, you can be the most disciplined person on the planet, but if you walk by chocolate cake in your kitchen, every time you walk in the kitchen, eventually you might have some chocolate cake. So this allows us to remove the distractions. It allows us to, even though we might be tempted to get our dopamine fix somewhere else, we can't because the websites are blocked. The second thing with this is, I mean, all of us have a phone, okay? So what I do with my phone is I pretty much turn it off, I put it in a drawer, and I just don't even, like, all of those little steps are several steps further away from me actually accessing my phone. So instead of just picking up my phone first, number one, I don't have my phone in my room, okay? So it never happens. It's tucked in a drawer somewhere in the living room or the kitchen, turned off. And so it's just more work to turn it on and like load it up and wait for it. It's not even worth it. So the goal is, when you identify what is most important for you to do, you have to set up your environment to win. If you want to eat healthier, don't bring chips and garbage in the house. It's just so much easier to eat healthier when you don't have that stuff. But to bring all that stuff in the house and then say you're going to eat healthy, it's tricky. It's like saying I'm going to be focused on my most important work, but I've got all the tabs open and my phone right beside me with notifications on. You're never going to win by doing that. So turn off the distractions, put your phone away, put some headphones on, noise canceling, whatever you want to do, and just set a time block, 1 hour, whatever it is, 90 minutes, and just do the work. It's going to feel hard. That's okay. But the more you do it, the more you train yourself to focus and get the thing done. So those are the 5 morning habits that have changed my life. They've allowed me to build multiple 7- and 8-figure businesses over the past 20 years and live an amazing quality of life. I'm 45. My health is awesome. I spend a lot of time with my kids and my wife, and I work out sometimes 1, 2, 3 times a day. And it's all because I'm able to get more out of my 24 hours. Hopefully this serves you as well. If it has, let me know what's caught your eye or really jumped out for you in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. There is nothing worse spending an hour with a prospect, only get to the end of the call and they tell you I need to think about it, talk to my spouse, it's too expensive, whatever the objection is. Today I'm going to share with you 10 ways to overcome and prevent these objections from happening in the first place.